nobody is going to ask you. This is just for your knowledge. And combined CT and ultrasound, EUS has got quite a good 86% accuracy. Now, number 11, this is your last case. Number 1, be ready for you are going to take over. So this is a case of esophageal carcinoma. Biopsy has been done. You have done a CT scan. Tumor is sitting here. Tumor is sitting here. Is it operable or not on CT criteria?
Okay, this is spot images from contrast enhanced CT. I can see the esophageal lesion. It is in contact with the aorta, but the contact degree is less than 90. However, I do see that it is in close approximation in the subcarinal region. The right and left main bronchus seems to be spared, so I think this is operable.
Okay, thank you very much. You can mute yourself. Well done. But this particular case, audience, I will come back to this case, right? So we will debate this case. Now, let me take over. And you see, in esophageal carcinoma, please remember there is no serosa. So tumor can go right and left into various organs, because serosa in a way confines a tumor in rest of the GIT, but here there is no serosa, there is adventitia. And this concept is what I was, non-regional nodes is considered metastasis. Now, with that background, see here, I just want you to concentrate on T4 tumor. This is T and M staging. T4 stage, T4A, T4B. Some of them are still resectable and some of them become unresectable. Now, if it goes into the pleura, into the pericardium or into the diaphragm, it is still resectable because you can remove that part of the pleura or pericardium or diaphragm as well as the tumor. Unresectable tumor that invades other adjacent structures such as aorta, vertebral body, trachea, etc. So, regional nodes, of course, N staging, I am not going to go into details, but N staging 1 to 2 is N1 and N3 is 3 to 6, more than 7 is N3. Now, here is the take-home point, and you have to concentrate on what I am going to teach on this particular slide. As we considered previously, that EUS is the top modality to pick up T staging, but there are some CT criteria to convert it into a T4B tumor. And this T4B on a CT criteria becomes inoperable. So there will be cases on which you on a CT can also suggest that this is a inoperable case. In some of these cases where the findings are debatable or subtle, we will still like to do an EUS. But in the real world, what happens when there is a tight stricture, they cannot do EUS because it cannot go through the lesion. Having said that, what are the main things you are looking for? The main things you are looking for is in a very large tumor, signs of tracheal invasion. So if there is posterior indentation or anterior displacement of trachea, you can raise that on a CT criteria, I'm worried. Please remember that our sensitivity specificity is not as good as EUS, but these are the CT criteria, right? Second thing is left main bronchus. This is a very big tumor, so it is also abutting the right main bronchus. But usually it is left main bronchus. Anatomy-wise, esophagus is sitting posterior to the left main bronchus. If there is displacement of the left main bronchus anteriorly, you call it that I am worried. Number two, if there is narrowing, you call it with more confidence. And I've seen cases where you can actually see breaching it into the left main bronchus. So anterior displacement or narrowing, call it. So this is, left main bronchus. Aorta, if you see this aorta, I will show you in the next slide. So this is the main take-home point. As an examiner, if I want to show you a esophageal CT for your concept of staging, I will show you aortic invasion, and I will come back to this. But pericardium, look at this tumor. This tumor is at the level of left atrium, and it is causing indentation here. When you see indentation, you call it that there is, I'm worried about pericardial invasion. Now, concentrate on this. This is for me the most important concept of invasion of the aorta. Basically, the descending aorta is here. Look at these rules. If less than 45 degree, now if you, this is the aorta, this is the tumor. If the contact between the tumor and the aorta is less than 45 degree, means it is touching but less than, you divide it, this is one line, this is another line. From here to here is 45, from here to here is 90. 45 is this one, this is 90, and this is 180. So 45 to 90 degree is doubtful, and more than 90 degree is definite. So in this particular case, you can see that it is about 180 degree. Another sign which is given in literature is that if you see soft tissue of the tumor in between the aorta and the spine, again you call it. So this case is aortic involvement. When we will learn pancreatic carcinoma, I will teach you when we reach that point, but please remember that discriminator. There the sign is 180 degree. Less than 180 degree. So for example, this is the vessel, this is the tumor. This tumor is abutting the vessel less than 180 degree. This is the vessel, this is the tumor, less than 180 degree. We will still call it operable. It is not invading the vessel. Here, when it is more than 180 degree, we call it, this one is 360 degree actually. So the difference between esophageal and pancreatic carcinoma concepts. And this is the case which we had done. You will agree that in this case, there is a tongue of tissue which has gone in between the aorta and the vertebra. This is one sign, but the abutment is also definitely more than 90 degree, maybe close to 180. So we will call it a T4B tumor. Okay, candidate, last few films are left. Candidate 1, are you with us? I think 2 films are left, if I'm not wrong. Staging, what do you think? Okay, just concentrate on these 3 slides. Esophageal carcinoma staging.
So there is contact with the descending thoracic aorta of about 45 degrees. It's also inseparable from the left atrium.
What is your conclusion?
So T4.
T4, excellent. So if you see here, now this is if you divide it here, this will be 90, so maybe it is 90. And even if the patient is a young, here if you look carefully, there is a bit of fat plane in between. So you are not going to call it. Here it becomes, in that territory. In a young patient, what we do is we must do EUS also. We are wrong many a time. But what we are learning is that this is the CT criteria with a small print disclaimer that we are not perfect on CT, but we have to call it on CT criteria. Now, this indentation here means pericardial invasion, but as I told you, it will be a T4A tumor. Here is T4B tumor. This is operable, this is inoperable. I think last case of the day, yes. So you've got the last case of the day, number 1. Over to you.
So there are multiple intramural diverticulosis. So pseudodiverticulosis of the esophagus.
Okay, so this is a Aunt Minnie case. An Aunt Minnie case is that if you have seen it once, you will pick it up. You can mute yourself. Actually, this is the last case, and after this, we will end the session. So if you see it once, you will never miss it. Otherwise, you will be absolutely, searching for answers. This is a benign condition where what is happening, pathologically speaking, there is deep mucous glands, the excretory glands of deep, the mucosa. The ducts of them, they get dilated, and these ducts are in communication with the lumen. So when the patient drinks barium, that goes into those dilated ducts. And or when you see them in a profile, they project like this, and on they project like this, and this is what we call intramural. So intramural pseudodiverticulosis. It's not going outside the wall. Interestingly, please remember that barium is more sensitive than endoscopy. Interesting. Because when they do endoscopy, many a times these openings might not be visible to them. So we are much better. With intramural pseudodiverticulosis, you will find strictures. Usually these are benign, and at times they can be malignant also. And this condition is also associated with many other, types of diseases. So this is intramural pseudodiverticulosis. Right. So as I told you last time, the feedbacks, the number of feedbacks, as I've told you, in what, we always say that there is no teaching without feedback. So if you are, my concept is that if you have attended a teaching session, you must give a feedback.